It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life.
It's a new way to vacation. Welcome to the 4 parks of Universal Orlando Resort, including the all-new Universal Epic Universe. From the wizarding world of Harry Potter to Jurassic Park to spectacular themed hotels, we offer an entire week's worth of excitement. Vacations will never be the same. Visit universalorlando.com.
It's the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
Welcome back, folks. There is a great controversy over one of the announcements by President Donald Trump. It is that of the appointment of Dr. Janet Neshewat, I believe I'm spelling that right, who is a board-certified medical doctor to serve as the Surgeon General. Here is a bite of her speaking about the COVID-19 pandemic.
And the only times that they can remove their mask is if they're sleeping, if they're swimming, if they're eating, and they still have to maintain that social distancing as well. Wearing a mask isn't just to protect yourself. You're actually helping to protect others.
It is still recommended, though, if you are going outdoors in public, around other people, around crowds, gotta wear your mask even if you're vaccinated.
Just use your common sense. Know your risk if you're in an area where you're not sure, if you're in a crowded area, if you're in public, if you're not vaccinated, wear your mask.
Wear a mask even after you've been vaccinated. It is important that we continue to educate and encourage those who are unvaccinated that the vaccine is safe and effective. I am so excited, and I thank and I commend Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg for taking action. So it's about time that they are taking action, and I hope and pray that other social media platforms will follow suit and do the same thing.
So I'm not a doctor, nor am I a scientist, but when it comes to matters of health and medicine, a woman who I rely on, who I admire greatly, is Dr. Judy Mikovits. Dr. Judy Mikovits is a leading expert. She has been in her field for 40 years and has dedicated herself to the quest to understand the causes, prevention, and treatment of chronic diseases. She has co-authored seminal papers culminating in at least a decade of research in each of 4 fields: immunology, national products, chemistry, epigenetics, and, of course, HIV and AIDS drug development. In 2009, Dr. Judy Mikovits led the team that first isolated and characterized a new family of human disease-associated retroviruses, which I will call XMRVS. She has co-authored more than 50 peer-reviewed publications and book chapters and holds a patent for combination therapy for prostate cancer using botanical compositions and Casodex. She's a New York Times best-selling author. Her books, The Plague, Plague of Corruption, Ending Plague, and The Truth About Masks. She is a woman of enormous courage, enormous knowledge, someone that I admire and respect, and I wanted her to join us, even though we have little time, but to reflect on this appointment by the president and to tell us her view of it. Judy Mikovits, Dr. Judy Mikovits, thank you for joining us on the Roger Stone Show.
Well, thank you, Roger. It's a pleasure to talk to you once again. Really, this is a potentially the most horrific mistake that President Trump could make. And I say this ever since it was announced, legions of people who know the truth about science and the truth about masks and all of these things, as we just heard in Dr. Neshewat's voice, in Dr. Janet Neshewat's voice. She is not a scientist. Science is not medicine. She graduated, and in fact, her resume, or what I found on Wikipedia, was in fact misinformation and misrepresentation. It says that she got her MD from the University of Arkansas School of Medical Sciences, UAMS, in 2009. And in fact, she did not. She got her She graduated from the American University of the Caribbean School of Medicine in St. Martin it looks like 2008, but she got her medical residency and did that as a residency. That's a study program from the UAMS in 2009. Her only science education is a bachelor in biology from the University of South Florida. Medicine is not science. Science is the laws of nature and of God. It takes years, even decades, to translate science into the practice of medicine. I am not formally called a doctor. I am a PhD. I have a PhD in molecular biology and biochemistry from George Washington University, molecular biology and biochemistry. My PhD thesis, defended 1991, essentially cured AIDS, November 14, 1991. That science, those patents you just described, are translating the basic sciences into practice and teaching it. Professors teach and educate doctors like Dr. Mikovits. Not saying she's a bad person. She has absolutely no knowledge and willful ignorance when she said mass spread. Those masks, the isolation, and in fact everything she did in New York City led to the COVID panic, fear, and literally killed millions, led to the deaths of millions of Americans, as Ed Dowd showed us in his book, Cause Unknown. We will not recover from these from her mistakes and her unwillingness to even repent on those words from 2021. You cannot mandate health care. Everything that was done by these doctors who aren't scientists, led only in Trump's task force team by Birx, Redfield, and Fauci, who literally committed exactly the same criminal fraud when Fauci created those headlines back in 1983. I started studying for my PhD in 1988 as his lies about how the AIDS virus spread by casual contact, and then changed it back right away. We will never end the pandemics or plandemics until all of this misinformation is exposed. All the data is surely shown. Every bit of every word I said in every book is fact and truth. And yet I was censored and censored from telling this. It's not Dr. Mikovits' fault. She doesn't know. It's her fault. She can't humble herself and repent and say we were wrong and it won't ever happen again. You cannot mandate the most vulnerable be murdered, literally, which is what happened, in order to save the public.
You want the best for your vision, and that starts with where you go. Essilor experts are independent eye care professionals who will listen carefully to your vision preferences and recommend Essilor lenses with the latest technologies to correct and protect your eyes. Find your local Essilor expert at Essilor.com.
Oh my God, it's the coolest thing ever. Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? Well, check this out. It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. Seriously. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
This episode is brought to you by Hulu, presenting Paradise. Paradise is Hulu's critically acclaimed addictive drama series, starring Sterling K. Brown, Julianne Nicholson, and James Marsden. The Daily Beast calls Paradise your next TV obsession, and the New York Times says it's exhilarating in all the right ways. Paradise is for your Emmy consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Drama Series. For more information, visit fyc.hulu.com.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the U.S. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
I must say that, like you, I have gotten more incoming mail, text messages, calls about this appointment. I've not talked to the president about it. I don't know who was an advocate for this doctor or how this came about. I guess based on what I know, I hope the president maybe will reconsider, because until, of course, he sends a nomination to the Senate, it's not ever actually done. Last week we announced, for example, that former Senator Kelly Loeffler would be the head of the Department of Agriculture, and then Brooke Rollins was subsequently actually named to the position. So clearly, for whatever reason, the president changed his mind. I read Robert Kennedy's terrific book on Dr. Fauci. I was shocked to learn that at the beginning of the HIV and AIDS epidemic, that Dr. Fauci refused to approve the use of Bactrim, a relatively inexpensive drug that had been around for a long time, which, according to the book, had proved effective for treating some rare forms of pneumonia that were affecting gay men who had been affected with HIV and AIDS. So there's a pattern here, is there not?
Absolutely, and as I said, Dr. Fauci, absolutely lied then, lied to drive it. It's not Dr. Nishawat's fault, her youth, but her youth reflects, the fact that if Mr. Trump, as he had the advisor Scott Atlas brought in as an advisor later in 2020, in March or so of 2020, and Scott's book, A Plague Upon Our House, is about that broken trust. Our faith isn't in science. Our faith is in the promise of science if we aren't lied to. So everything that I said and he said in that truth, and Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, Redfield, and Fauci actively campaigned to stop President Trump from using safe and decades promised medicine that we, as I mentioned, we created cures for acquired immune deficiencies. We have patents for curing the most aggressive prostate cancers in African American men versus European. Now, that was our work of almost 50 years. Those solutions are ready to give back to the American people now. And Bobby Kennedy's book, The Real Anthony Fauci, is actually wrong. And he knows I've said this before, by omission, because it stops with what the truth of what really happened. When the original deplorables, the gay men, IV drug users, and prostitutes were considered high risk, and therefore the only ones that could get HIV or AIDS. And as such, HIV was injected and continues to be to this day. To this day, HIV is injected in every single hepatitis B vaccine into our athletes, into our military. Birx, Redfield, and Fauci continue to participate in active fraud to censor and make sure the facts go away. And again, the editors of Bobby's book, and I was not one of them, will go back to 1997 and 8 and omit that critical history of what really happened. And if that happens, we will never end the plague of corruption, never. And in fact, I'm praying that President Trump hears us, and even that Dr. Nishawat humbles herself and withdraws her name from the nomination.
All right, that is Dr. Judy Mikovits, someone for whom I have unparalleled respect in this area. I'm glad you were able to join us. Folks, we're going to talk about this again next Sunday. Clearly the most controversial of the president's appointments. Dr. Mikovits has paid a high price for being a truth teller. She's a woman of great courage and great integrity and great knowledge. Judy Mikovits, thank you so much for being with us today, and God bless you, my friend.
God bless you, my friend.
All right, folks, we try to bring you the latest news. We're waiting for bated breath over what we hear will be an impending announcement about President Donald Trump's appointment to the FBI. If that happens while we're still on the air, we will bring it to you immediately. But that would be a great time for you to go to the App Store and download the 77 WABC Radio app. That way you won't miss any of the amazing entertainment or talk that we have here at the most dynamic, the most powerful, the most influential, and the most entertaining radio station in the United States. And I remind you again, if you don't live in the greater New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, you can hear us every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern by going to WABCradio.com. That's WABCradio.com. You're not going to want to go away because we have one of the greatest military strategists and thinkers, Colonel Douglas Macgregor, who's going to talk to us about the danger of America hurtling towards world war in the closing days of the Biden administration. So don't go away, folks. We will be right back.